Hey everyone, today we're going to go over the heavyweight for distance. I am only going to go over the two turn, so a full throw. Later on down the road I will make another video with the one turn or the cast and throw and stuff like that, but today we're going to focus on just kind of an intro to the event and then get into a full throw the way that I throw it. Heavyweight is 56 pounds for men, 28 pounds for women. If you're a masters thrower over 40, men it's 42 and women will throw a 21. All right, so before we get going, let's go over a couple of rules for the event. Today we're going to be throwing out of a 9 by 4.5 trig, just standard trig. Wing trigs are becoming a little more popular. We'll talk about the rules, but I don't have one of those drawn. So on your standard trig, generally you will see something like this. We have our trig board up front. We have our back line in the back. You'll often see another line drawn right here. This is your stone back line, but lots of the trigs are used for both, so they have both lines drawn. So when you are throwing, if you step behind the back line, is an automatic foul, no throw. If you step in front of the trig, over top of the trig, it is automatic, no throw. Even if you step in front of the trig to the outside, again, no throw, that's a foul. For a standard trig, you are allowed to have 1 foot out of the box as long as the other one is in control. So this would be good. We have our 1 foot in control, and our 1 foot out. If you go like this, oh, that would be a foul. We're stepping out with our other foot. So this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good, still have the foot in. This would be bad, right? We don't have a foot totally in the box, totally in control. So this would be a foul, this would be good. Same thing on the other side as well. As long as we have 1 foot completely in, we're good.
So this is your wing trig. You can see it's still 9 feet long, 4'6" at that front board, but the lines kind of come out diagonally, so it's 6'9" in the back. The big difference with the wing trig is you need to have both feet in control at all times. So stepping on or over the line in a wing trig is a foul.
So as long as your feet are in, right, we have that 1 foot in, not stepping out the back, not stepping over the front, you pretty much can do whatever you want to get the weight out there. You can stand at the front and just bowl it out. You can do a 1 turn. What you'll see most often is a 2 turn, which is what we'll be going over today. Before we start throwing though, I do want to talk a little bit about just holding the weight. How do you hold the weight? I would recommend a hook grip. If you don't know what the hook grip is, that's where you're gonna kind of hook your thumb under and then hold your thumb on the weight. I just want to demonstrate the hook grip. You're gonna take your thumb, put it under the ring, and then you're gonna grab your thumb. All right, so it ends up looking a little bit like this. It's gonna give you a bit more holding power, so if it's slippery or if you're just throwing super hard, it's gonna allow you to hold on a little bit longer than just doing a grip like this. You don't always have to throw with a hook grip if you don't want to. When I first started out, I didn't hook grip, and then it started raining one competition. I was trying to learn to hook grip in the middle of it because I couldn't hold on anymore. Learning to hook grip in the middle of a competition is not the time to learn. So at least make sure you know how to hook grip when you're practicing, even if you don't throw with it all the time. Out here on the East Coast, we throw with ring handles a lot. The ring handles are a little bit thinner. Other places you'll see some D handles with a little bit thicker, a little more comfortable. But because we have the ring handles and I practice with ring handles, I do like to wear a glove. It just saves your hand a little bit. Most important thing is when you're throwing the weight, keep that arm you're throwing with straight. When you're turning with this weight, you're going to be putting a ton of pressure on that arm, and if you start pulling in, you're going to be putting a lot more pressure on the bicep than you need to, and you're really in danger of getting hurt. I've seen a bunch of really strong guys who try to muscle the weight and pull it in really hard and hurt their biceps. So keep that arm straight, protect that bicep as you're going through the whole throw. Before we start throwing, let's talk a little bit about posture. This weight is really heavy. I know it's way below our deadlift max, but once you start that thing spinning, it can really drag you around. It's going to put a lot of pressure on your body. And so we need to kind of have a really strong posture so that we can work with the weight to get it moving as fast as we want to. So first thing we want to do, make sure we have those bent knees, right? Think of it like just a nice strong stance. And you want your body pretty upright, right? You don't want it way over here. It's just going to drag you off balance. You don't want to be way over your foot like you would if we were throwing a stone. It's just going to drag you around, throw you off balance. So we want to stay pretty upright on those bent knees, have a nice strong posture. Don't worry about weighting one foot more than the other at any part of the throw, especially if you're new. Your body is going to need to counter the weight anyway, so you'll learn how to do that pretty naturally. You don't have to think about it as much. So I want to think straight posture, right, on bent knees, and that's what we're going to be working with. Other thing, because this is so heavy and can drag you around, you don't want to be moving your arm too much, right? If you let it drag behind you like this, it's going to put a lot of pressure on your shoulder. It's going to put a lot of pressure on that bicep, and we don't want to injure it. So don't let it drag behind you a lot, but you also don't want to let it get too far ahead of you, because once it's ahead of you, once the implement is ahead of your hips, then it's really hard to catch up to it or put any power on it. What I like to do is once I get it moving, once my arm kind of comes in line with my shoulders, I try to keep it there as much as possible. So your shoulders can rotate away from your hips. We get that separation, but once that arm is in line with your body, you try to keep it there. If you let it drag, you're gonna put a lot of pressure on your shoulder, and if you let it get in front of you, it's gonna be really hard to put any power on the implement. Steps of the throw. First, we have our cast. The cast is that first part. We're just gonna get the weight moving. We're gonna bring it behind ourselves. We're gonna push it around and sort of sit a little bit into it, keeping upright, right? Not all the way over, all the way back. We're gonna sit. Once it gets to about 90 degrees from the direction that we're throwing, you're going to switch that right and left foot. All right? So the cast, you're just getting it moving. Bring it behind yourself. Sit. Once it gets to about 90, turn your feet. Kind of switch that right foot to the left foot. Left foot lands in. Your shoulders should be facing the opposite way from the way that you're throwing. And here you're going to push the weight back. If this is, let's say 12 o'clock, right? 6 o'clock is the way we're throwing. We're gonna push it down to 12, and then we're gonna start our sprint. The sprint is just 2 steps. 1, 2, again, land with your shoulders at about 12, and that's when we're gonna throw it out in the field. Big things that I see with newer throwers is they try to take too many steps, right? They'll get it moving on the cast, they'll bring it around, and they'll kind of take 1, 2, 3 steps, and then same thing when they're sprinting, they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and throw again. We should only have about 4 steps once we start the throw. So get it moving, we're gonna bring it behind, sit, so it's about 90, step, step, shoulders facing back, push, so that we're at 12 o'clock, right from the direction that we're throwing, 6. 1, 2 more steps, and then throw from there.
All right, so one thing I forgot to go over with the cast is don't be afraid to let your shoulders go back. You can see here my shoulders are facing almost opposite of the direction that we're going to end up throwing. So on that cast, don't just stand with your shoulders facing forward and let the weight come behind you and then try to drag it around. Let your shoulders separate from the hips, go all the way back so you're facing that 180 degrees or 12 o'clock. And then from there, with that separation, we're going to start pushing it around. And then once we get to about 90 from where we're throwing, we're going to switch feet, 1, 2, and you can see right here when my foot lands, my shoulders are facing back, push to 12 o'clock, and once it makes it to 12, I'm already starting that sprint. So we're going to sprint 1, 2, And then from there, we're going to throw, and you can see a big lift with the legs, get your hips into it. Try to get that whole body into the throw and not just throw with the upper body. So here's a few full speed angles. What I want you to notice here is that the cast is really just setting you up to get in a good position so that you can accelerate through turn 2 and then accelerate further in the finish. So you're not trying to go super fast on the cast. You just want to get into a good position so you can speed up and then get a good acceleration on that throw.
A problem that I have a lot is I'll try to go too fast on the cast. That first part I'll try to push real hard, it'll get out ahead of me, and then I can't catch back up and I end up shooting out the left side.
Just a quick video so you can see what I'm talking about here. I push it a little too fast, get ahead, and then foul out the left.
A good cue that I use is to try to go into that first turn sooner, not faster, right? Because if you go in a little sooner, you'll be able to keep that weight behind you and land in that good position.
All right, so here's a slow-mo video, so hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. You'll notice when I bring it back, I'm going to start pushing it around, and before I even get to 90, I'm already initiating that turn out of the cast so that I can land with my shoulders back and get a good acceleration through turn 2, and that's going to set me up well at the finish, so I can have a good wrap there and push it out into the field. And here's another video of a not so great throw, so you guys know what to watch out for in your own practices.
That last one, yeah, I kind of dove my shoulder into it to try to get a little more speed. What ends up happening when you do that, instead of keeping that nice upright posture, is that you just get off balance and you don't actually have as much power to put into the implement. So even though it feels like you're going faster, it feels like you're putting a lot of force on it when you dive that left shoulder into it, you're really not. Like, I was going a lot harder on that one and threw about a foot shorter than, you know, the nice easy throws with better technique. So, you know, technique is king.
Thanks everyone for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to get back to you. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one.